The lights above her blurred into halos as the anesthesia began to pull her under. She tried to stay awake, tried to hold onto the last face she wanted to see before the darkness swallowed her whole. But he wasn't there. "Where's my husband?" Her voice trembled weakly through the oxygen mask, a small, desperate sound that cracked even the nurse's heart. The doctor exchanged a look with the nurse, but said nothing. Outside the room, the faint echo of running footsteps faded down the corridor, away from her. He was gone. Gone to his first love. Because she'd had a headache. A single tear slid down Zara's temple as the coldness in her chest spread, not from the anesthesia this time, but from the truth that ripped her apart. He had promised to love her through sickness and health. But when sickness came, he chose someone else. And as the machines began to hum, as the countdown to her surgery began, her heart whispered one last plea. "Please, just stay." But he didn't. When she woke again, she wasn't in the light. She was in the dark, inside a coma, her mind drifting somewhere between life and death. It had been weeks before he returned. Weeks of silence, of guilt he didn't want to name. His first love, Monroe, held his hand, pretending to look fragile, pretending to need him. "You did what you had to," she whispered. If it was her fate to suffer, you couldn't change that. He believed her. Or maybe he wanted to. When he finally gathered the courage to return to the hospital, he was met with an empty bed. The sheets were folded, the machines gone, the faint smell of antiseptic lingering like a ghost. He ran to the nurse's station, panic cracking through his chest. "Where is she?" "The woman in room 402. The nurse hesitated, her expression tightening. "I'm sorry, sir. The patient there passed away 2 nights ago." For a moment, the hallway tilted. She what? Since no one came to claim the body, she was cremated. He stood there in silence, unable to breathe. Cremated. Gone. Forever. He demanded to see the ashes, his voice hoarse, trembling. But halfway down the corridor, his phone rang. It was Monroe. She'd been in an accident. And like the coward he was, he ran to her again, leaving behind the ashes of the woman who once begged him to stay. 5 years passed. He built a new life with Monroe, or at least pretended to. The guilt became a scar, something he buried beneath expensive suits and charity galas. Until the day he collapsed at a board meeting. Diagnosis: kidney failure. And for the first time, it wasn't his wealth or Monroe's tears that could save him. "No doctor will operate," his assistant said. "You have complications only one surgeon in Shanghai can handle, Dr. Zara Cole." The name hit him like thunder. Zara. He refused to believe it. Could it be her? No, she was dead. He'd seen her chart, the death record, the nurse's face. Still, desperation dragged him to the hospital. When his name was called, he stepped inside the consulting room and froze. There she was, alive. Standing in a crisp white coat, a gold badge that read Chief Surgeon, Shanghai General Hospital. Her eyes lifted, cool and distant, not a trace of the girl who once cried for him. "Good morning, Mr. Lee," she said softly. "Let's discuss your operation." He stumbled backward, pale as paper. The nurse caught his arm. "Sir, are you all right?" He couldn't answer. His world had just turned upside down. That night, Zara returned home to a sprawling glass mansion on the city's edge. A man waited for her, Professor Kenji Takeda, the one who had found her, saved her, and trained her to be stronger than her pain. He smiled faintly as she walked in. "Rough day." She sat beside him, exhaustion sinking deep. "My ex-husband came today," she whispered. "He needs a transplant. I'm his surgeon." Kenji's eyes darkened slightly. "Then save him. And when it's over, close that chapter forever." But destiny wasn't finished yet. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the operating room, sharp and clean, but all Li Wei could smell was guilt. Every corner of the room reminded him of that day. Her day, when he left her lying under those same cold lights, whispering his name through tears. Now, 5 years later, he was the one on the table. He watched her through the glass partition before the anesthesia took hold, the way her gloved hands moved, steady and precise, The way her voice was calm when she gave instructions to her team. She was everything he had destroyed, and yet, she was still standing. Dr. Cole, a nurse said, handing her a scalpel. Zara didn't flinch. Her expression was unreadable, as if she had built walls high enough that even memory couldn't climb over. "Begin the incision," she said quietly. Her voice was the same, soft, low, melodic, but this time it carried no love. Only authority. The beeping of the monitor echoed like a heartbeat, his heartbeat, the one she was about to save. Hours later, the surgery was done. Successful.
Clean. Perfect.
She stood in the scrub room, peeling off her gloves, her fingers trembling only slightly as adrenaline faded. She looked at herself in the mirror. The same dark eyes, the same face, but something inside her had changed. 5 years ago, she was a girl begging to be loved. Now, she was a woman who could hold another's life in her hands and never falter. Behind her reflection, a movement caught her eye. Li Wei. He stood in the doorway, pale but alive, dressed in a hospital gown and leaning weakly against the frame. His eyes were glassy, part drugs, part disbelief. "You saved me," he said, his voice breaking. Zara didn't turn. "That's my job." "I thought you were dead." "You thought a lot of things," she replied flatly, reaching for her coat. "But what you thought doesn't matter anymore." He swallowed, guilt choking him. I tried to find you after the cremation. Stop." This time she turned, her gaze slicing through him like glass. "Don't you dare rewrite the past. You left me when I needed you most. You didn't even wait to see if I'd live through the surgery. You buried me with your silence." Her voice cracked, just slightly, before she composed herself again. He stepped closer, wincing at the pain in his chest. "I was wrong. I've been paying for it every day." "Then keep paying." She walked past him, her perfume a fleeting whisper of something bittersweet. But just as she reached the door, his voice caught her. "Zara." Her name in his mouth was a wound. She didn't look back. "I'm not her anymore," she said softly. "Dr. Cole is all that's left." Outside, the hospital was quiet beneath the Shanghai moonlight. Zara walked toward the parking lot where Kenji waited beside his car, his sharp Japanese features calm, unreadable, the city lights glinting off his glasses. "How did it go?" he asked. "He'll live," she said simply. Kenji studied her face. "And you?" Her lips trembled before she caught herself. "I'm fine." But her eyes told a different story, a storm gathering behind calm seas. In the following days, the news of her miraculous operation spread across medical journals and social media. Dr. Zara Cole, the once unknown black surgeon of Shanghai, had saved the heir of the Li conglomerate. Her inbox flooded with offers, interviews, proposals, even an invitation from Tokyo University Hospital for a research collaboration. But none of it mattered. Because every night, when the city slept, she still saw that empty hospital bed from years ago. The one where she was supposed to die. And somewhere in another wing of that same hospital, Li Wei lay awake too, listening to the rhythmic drip of the four, haunted by the voice that once begged him to stay. A week later, Zara walked into his recovery room, clipboard in hand. His parents were there, the Lees, faces pale, eyes shocked. "You're alive," Mrs. Li whispered, her voice trembling as she reached for Zara's hand. "We thought... Oh, dear child, we thought you were gone." Zara smiled faintly, polite. "I survived." Li Wei watched silently, 1,000 apologies trapped behind his tongue. Mr. Li cleared his throat. "You saved our son. We owe you." "You owe me nothing," Zara interrupted, her eyes flicking briefly to Li Wei. "If anything, I owed it to myself. I didn't come back for revenge, only closure." She signed the last sheet on her clipboard and turned to leave. But Mrs. Li called after her. "Where will you go now?" Zara paused. The question hung in the air. "Somewhere I can make a difference," she said quietly. "Somewhere far from here." That night, when she reached home, Kenji was waiting again, this time with 2 cups of tea and a letter. "It came from Tokyo," he said, handing it to her. She unfolded it slowly, scanning the contents. A small smile touched her lips. They want me to lead a children's ward in Japan. Kenji nodded, his eyes softening. Then go. You've given enough to this city. But something about his tone made her pause. Kenji, what about you? He smiled faintly. I'll join you when the time is right. She believed him. The mansion was quiet, too quiet. Zara pushed open the heavy glass doors, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Usually, Kenji would greet her from the study, soft jazz playing in the background, the scent of green tea lingering in the air. But tonight, the house smelled like metal and fear. Kenji, she called out. No answer. Her heart skipped. She moved deeper inside, her steps cautious. Every light was on, but the place felt hollow, like someone had erased all traces of life. Then she saw them. Two men in black suits standing by the hallway, faces blank, earpieces glowing faintly blue. Her pulse raced. Who are you? Where's Professor Takeda? Dr. Cole, one of them said stiffly. Please wait in your room. The professor will see you shortly. It wasn't a request. Her instincts screamed run, but she didn't. Not yet. She nodded slowly and turned toward the stairs, her mind spinning. Something was terribly wrong. Hours passed before the door finally opened. Kenji stood there, dressed in all black, his glasses gone, his usually calm eyes replaced with something cold, something unfamiliar. You've been avoiding me, he said quietly. Zara rose from the edge of the bed. I've been busy preparing for Japan. What's going on, Kenji? Why are there guards in the house? He smiled, but it wasn't kind.
Oh, Zara.
You really thought you could just walk away from all this, didn't you? Her blood ran cold. All what? He stepped closer, his tone soft but sharp as a knife. The project your parents started. The research that could change everything about genetic immunity. The one that got them both sent away for confidential work. Zara froze. What are you talking about? They weren't just scientists, he said. They created something the government wanted to bury, a serum that could rebuild damaged organs. Your parents hid the formula in a data file before they vanished. I was part of that research once, until they cut me out. Zara took a step back. So you used me? His jaw clenched. I saved you. I rebuilt you. You were dying, Zara. Don't you remember? I was the one who found you half alive after your so-called husband left you for dead. Her breath hitched. Memories flickered, hospital corridors, flashing lights, his hand holding hers when no one else cared. I helped you become who you are, he said. But now I need that file. Zara shook her head, tears burning her eyes. I don't have it. Your parents do. And they're on their way back. Before she could respond, the door burst open. Two guards stepped aside, revealing her parents, alive, older, weary, but unmistakably them.
Mom? Dad?
Her mother rushed forward, tears spilling down her cheeks. Zara, are you hurt? Her father's arm went protectively around her. Kenji, this isn't the way. Kenji laughed bitterly. You should have thought about that before you shut me out. Before you used me as your pawn. He pulled a gun from his coat and aimed it at Zara. Give me the files. Or she dies. Before her parents could answer, the door behind them slammed open again. Li Wei stood there, flanked by two uniformed security officers, his face pale but determined. Drop it, Takeda. Kenji's eyes widened. You. Li Wei stepped forward slowly. You made one mistake. You underestimated what guilt can make a man do. The guards moved swiftly. In seconds, Kenji was surrounded. One officer disarmed him, another cuffed him to the railing. Zara stood frozen as everything blurred around her. Kenji's furious shouts, her parents' cries, the flashing lights of security drones swarming the building. When it was finally over, Li Wei turned to her, his voice quiet. You're safe now. Zara's throat tightened. Why are you here? Your father called me, he said. They told me the truth. About the project. About why they forced our marriage, to protect you. Her mother nodded, guilt shining in her eyes. We knew someone wanted to hurt you, Zara. We thought if you married into the Li family, no one would dare touch you. Li Wei looked down, shame clouding his face. And I failed you anyway. Zara shook her head slowly. It doesn't matter anymore. He stepped closer, his voice breaking. It matters to me. I live with it every day. Then live with it, she said softly. But don't ask me to forget. Her parents looked between them, pain in their eyes, but Zara didn't waver. She had cried enough tears to drown a lifetime. The next morning, the story broke everywhere. Professor Kenji Takeda arrested for espionage and attempted homicide. Min Ro, Li Wei's ex-lover, was named as his accomplice. For days, Shanghai buzzed with scandal. But Zara said nothing. She didn't do interviews, didn't answer calls. When it was all finally quiet again, she packed her bags. Her mother found her at the airport. Zara, where will you go? Zara smiled faintly. Somewhere new. Somewhere that needs me. And without looking back, she boarded the plane to Japan. Tokyo was colder, cleaner, brighter. She joined a hospital that specialized in treating children and threw herself into the work, healing others the way she had once prayed to be healed. And then one evening, during a late emergency shift, she met him, Dr. Run Ishikawa. Sharp-tongued, brilliant, infuriating. He challenged her at every turn, argued with every diagnosis, and somehow made her laugh again. At first, she hated him. Then she began to need his voice in the hallway. And one night, when the power went out during a thunderstorm, he found her standing by the window, watching the rain. Do you ever stop working? He teased. Do you ever stop talking? She shot back. He smiled, stepping closer. Only when there's something worth listening to. Their eyes met. For the first time in years, her heart didn't ache, it beat. Months later, under the cherry blossoms of Tokyo, Zara laughed again. Not because her past was gone, but because she had survived it. And sometimes, survival was the greatest kind of love story there was. Epilogue. Tokyo, 5 years later. Morning sunlight streamed through the hospital windows, turning everything gold. Laughter echoed from the children's ward, soft, innocent, the sound of lives Zara had helped save. She moved down the hallway in a white coat embroidered with her new name, Dr. Zara Cole. A little girl tugged at her sleeve. Sensei, are you really the doctor who came back from the dead? Zara smiled, kneeling to meet her eyes. That's what they say. But the truth is, I just kept choosing to live. The child grinned and ran off. At the end of the hall, Ren leaned against the doorway, a cup of coffee in hand and mischief in his smile. Still telling heroic stories about yourself? She smirked. They ask. He slipped an arm around her waist. They should ask about the man who makes sure she sleeps more than 3 hours a night. She laughed softly. You mean the one who steals all the blankets? Their laughter lingered between them, easy and warm. That evening, as the city glowed under a soft drizzle, Zara sat on the hospital rooftop. Ren joined her with 2 steaming bowls of ramen. From the screen of her tablet, a news broadcast played faintly in the background. Dr. Zara Cole, honored for medical outreach across Asia. Across the sea in Shanghai, a man watched the same broadcast from a quiet apartment. Li Wei's eyes glistened as he saw her smiling face on the screen. She made it, he whispered. His reflection stared back at him, older, lonelier, and full of the ghosts he had made. He switched off the TV and sat in silence. Some losses don't demand revenge. They demand remembrance. Back in Tokyo, Zara leaned her head on Ren's shoulder as cherry blossoms drifted past the window. Do you ever think about the past? He asked. Sometimes, she said softly. But not to relive it, only to remind myself how far I've come. He reached over and took her hand. And how far we'll go? She smiled, eyes shimmering. Together. The wind carried the faint scent of spring, and somewhere far below, the laughter of children rose again, bright, unbroken, alive. And for the first time in a long time, Zara believed that some endings weren't tragedies at all. They were just beginnings disguised as loss.